So the first thing you do is turn the machine on. It's this button here. And then you can see the temperature here. When you first turn it on, this will be room temperature. I've had it on for about 20 minutes, so it's up to the temperature. It should be 95. It will bounce around like 94 to 96, but that's fine, it's close enough. But yeah, once you switched it on, just give it 10 minutes or so to warm up and get up to temperature. And then you warm up the portafilter, which is this, and the cup by just running a bit of water through. So you don't need a lot, you just need to put like a little bit in the cup, about that much, just to warm up the cup a bit. Also, you also need to check the water level. So if you look here, where's the line, the water now is at that level, which is fine. So to fill it up, I usually just put a bit of water in the kettle, cold water in the kettle, and then you just pull this lid off, and then you just pour some water in there like that, and just make sure you don't go over the max. Don't forget to put the lid back on like that, and then yeah, just make sure that when you fill it up, you don't go over this max level here. But you need to make sure that always check before you use it that there is water in it, because if there's runs out of water, it can damage the boiler, the heater. So yeah, you just every time you need to check there's water in, and then you get the scales, and I use just one of these, which is at the side here. I use this and I put it on the scales, and I tear the scales by pressing the on button here, and then you get the beans, and you weigh out about 18 grams, depending on the beans. These ones I use 18. Some of the other beans I might use around 17, but between 17 and 18 grams. That's fine. There you go, about 18 per one, that'll do. And then you take the portafilter off by just twisting it to one side. Like that. There might be a bit of water in there, so I just sometimes pour the water out into the cup like that. And then just get a bit of kitchen roll and give it a wipe so it's dry. And this will be a bit warm as well to touch, which is good, which is what you want. Okay, and then you put the portafilter on there like that, and then open the lid at the top, and then you just put the beans in. Put the beans in, and then put this lid back on, because once you start grinding, they'll fly out without that, so remember to put the lid on. And then you just turn this to one side. You can tell when it's done because the sound of the grinder changes a bit. So now it's still grinding, and then it goes a little bit quieter like that. It stopped on its own then, sometimes it stops on its own, but if it's not stopped, say if you turn this a bit too far, when it goes quiet like that, just turn it off to stop it like that. Then you open this black lid, and because the coffee gets stuck inside, you need to just get a chopstick and just knock it out. Knock the ground coffee out of there. And then this little lever on the side here, you just turn, if you click that and turn it, you'll see the coffee starts coming out. But sometimes if you look inside, sometimes you see the coffee gets a bit stuck. You can see it here, it's kind of got stuck in the hopper. So you just use a chopstick to kind of bash it, knock it down. Or you can just see it's got a bit full in there, so I usually just level it off a little bit like that, make a bit more room. And then if you tap on this, you see it come out, and then level it off a bit more. And then tap it, get it all out, and then just give it a few taps like that to get the last bits out. And then put the lid back on, and then your grinds are in the portafilter, and I usually go over to the sink because it can get a little bit messy, and then I just level this off without trying to push it down too much. You want to try and get it as even and level as you can on top, like that. That'll do. And then you get the tamper, which is this metal thing here, and then you put this on top. This is quite heavy, so it will push the coffee down, but it sometimes doesn't get all the sides, so I kind of try to get it all down the sides as well, and push the coffee down the sides to get it all down. Then you put a bit of pressure on here, not too much pressure, you just enough that you kind of feel the resistance of the coffee's getting compacted. And then I usually just give it a little polish like that. So yeah, you're not pushing it as hard as you can, you just until you feel like the squishiness of the coffee being compacted go. And it'll be like nice and flat like that once you're done. Oh yeah, and make sure you keep it as level as possible as well. You don't want it slanted to one side because that'll mess up the brew. So yeah, try and keep it as level as possible. I usually use my finger and thumb, one on either side, to kind of make sure it's level by just touching the rim of this like that. But it doesn't have to be perfect, but just as good as you can. Sometimes there's a bit of coffee on the rim like that, and you don't want that because that can mess up the seal when you put the portafilter back in. So I just brush off. If there's any on the rim, just kind of brush it off. Make sure there's no coffee grinds on this rim. Then you put the thing back in. Portafilter back in. Try not to like disturb the bed, the top of the coffee, by like lifting it up too high or something like that. You just want it, you want to try and get it in without kind of touching the bed, the top of the coffee, the flat bit. Okay, and then you pour out the hot water from the cup. So the cup is nice and warm now. You feel the bottom of the cup, it's nice and warm. So you pour the water out and then tear the cup on here. So it's 0. And then this is a little bit fiddly. You have to put the cup, kind of lift it up like that so you can get the scales underneath. And then down. Sometimes the cup will touch the portafilter and it will mess with the tear, so try to get the tear on 0. yeah, so make sure that's 0 there. And then you turn it on here, turn the hot water to come through, and then straight away press the start button on the timer there. So you see how the timer starts up here. And then you just wait. You'll see that the coffee's coming through, so the weight is coming up on the scales here. And you're looking to get to about 40 grams of coffee through. So yeah, that's gone a little bit over there, up to 43, but that's fine. And the ideal time here, we were a little bit short then. See how the time's on 30 now. It was about between 20 and 25 then. The ideal time is 25 and maybe 35 seconds. So we've gone a little bit short, and that means that the coffee grinder, the grind setting needs to go a little bit finer. So on the next shot, I'll change the coffee to a little bit finer grind, so that the time on here will be between 25 and 35 seconds. So what you do to adjust the grind size is go to the grinder, and then at the top here, this is where you adjust the grind. So we were a bit short, we were like 20 seconds, so we need to go a little bit finer. So what you do is you turn the grinder on at the side, turn it on, and then you need to go a little bit finer. So see how it says fine this way? You need to turn it just slightly, right, ever so slightly. Turn it about that much that way, just a tiny little bit. And then hopefully the next time we run a shot, it'll be between 25 and 35 seconds for the shot. Okay, so now the coffee shot is done, and it looks nice, that. So you can turn off the thingy as well, the scales. Yeah, you just hold it down to turn it off like that. Hold the button down, turn it off, and then because this coffee will drip out of here, I hold a cloth underneath like this, turn it out, and I usually check the puck as well, and see that's nice and flat. There's no like little holes in it or anything, so that's okay. That's a good sign. And then bring it over and just knock it out. So turn it over and just knock out the puck like that. And then that's a nice looking puck. But it is hot, that, so be careful. And then just rinse out the portafilter. Just get the water. Get all the last bits of grinds out. And then just leave it there for now. And then just get an empty cup, any cup will do, and we're going to just wash out this, what group head it's called. Just going to wash this out. So you just run a bit of warm water through it like that, and then pour that out in the sink, and then one more time, just to kind of wash out any coffee in there, and then get the cloth and just give it a wipe under there. And at this point as well, I will turn the steam on, so which is this steam button here. So turn that on, and you'll see the temperature of this will start going up. So the temperature needs to be higher to create steam. So you can see it going up now, 90. So once that gets to about 120, 130, you're ready to start steaming. So you wipe the head like that, just give it a wipe around, but don't go overboard with the wiping because you don't want to damage the shower screen. So I just kind of wipe it around the edges like that. And then I usually put the portafilter back on because you want, if you're making more than one coffee, you want it to be warmed up for the next coffee. So get that back on as soon as you can, so that can be warming up for the next shot of espresso. And then get the milk jug out of the freezer. Keep it in the freezer so it's nice and cold for milk. And for the best results, you use whole milk. And fill the milk jug up to about here. So, you know, it's about a little finger's width from the spout of the jug. Or if you look at the side here, it's maybe just below the 6 ounce mark. Yeah, just below or round about the 6 ounce mark in the jug. Perfect amount of milk. And then, so the temperature now is up to nearly 130, so that's fine. Anything over 120 is probably okay for steaming. And then, first of all, you purge, there'll probably be a little bit of water left in this wand, so you want to get rid of that, purge it out. So you just turn the steam wand, purge it a little bit like that, and then close it. And then you put the milk in the steamer. So if you want it a bit to one side, and you want the tip kind of at the level of the milk. So you want the tip kind of half immersed in the milk like that. And then once it's in, start the steam. So yeah, open it as much as you can, and then you'll see the milk start swirling round, and that's what you want. You want it to like a whirlpool motion in the jug, and that noise you hear of like kind of tearing paper, that's what you want to hear. And then after the milk's kind of expanded and moved up a bit, then you can just lower the tip in a little bit more, and so it stops that tearing sound and just keeps it spinning. And then once the jug starts getting warm, a bit too hot to touch, with your left hand, like here, with your left hand just touching the bottom. Once it's a bit too, you can stop the steam and you can pull it out. And then, before you do anything else, you give this a good wipe. Sometimes the milk gets kind of stuck to it, so I usually wet the cloth again, make sure it's nice and damp, and give it a good wipe like that. Yep. So once you've got all the milk off that, then you want to purge any milk that's been sucked up into here. So you just run the steam like that and get any like excess milk out there like that. And then you can turn the steam off here, and then the temperature will start dropping back down to 95, so it'll be ready for the next shot of coffee. Then the milk, you give it a swirl like that and try and you'll see it starts going like kind of a glossy, like a wet paint kind of finish, and that's what you want. It's like, gets like a glossy finish to the milk, but I've maybe overdone that a bit, put too much air in because it's quite high up in the jug. It's probably a bit too much air in that. You'd probably want a little bit less air. And then you get the coffee, and then you just pour it in like that and kind of swirl it around a bit, and then you can do your heart or whatever, like that. Okay, and that's it. That's the coffee done. So then you just wash out this, ready for the next milk steaming. And then you're ready to start again. At the moment, this is too hot, so. But don't forget we have to warm the cup anyway. So when you warm the cup, you turn this on. Steam will start coming out because it's still a bit hot. If you just leave it a little bit, it'll start running out of water, hot water, and the temperature will come down as well. You can see the temperature coming down here. So yeah, once you've got a little bit of water, just enough to warm the cup, like that, then you're ready to start the next shot. One more thing you need to remember to do every few days is to empty this drip tray out. So you do that, you just kind of lift up the front and pull it out like that, and then you just make sure you're holding the metal grate with your thumb and just pour out the water like that. And then put it back. Okay, and then you're ready to start weighing your beans, grinding your beans, and just doing the exact same thing we've done again. And that's how you make a nice latte.